So the big takeaway is, especially when you're first meeting somebody, don't make them climb the 10-second ladder. And if you do, that's okay. Acknowledge it, let them know you don't need anything from them, and then provide value and get to the fun part. There is a Steam event going on called Steam Next Fest, and it features upcoming games from all sorts of developers. I would say it tends to skew more towards the indie crowd. And I was on the subreddit for developers. This one disgruntled developer said that wish lists for his game had not gone up at all. And for context, this event, Steam Next Fest, is a huge opportunity for people to get their games seen and for people to add their games to their wish list. And that has a pretty substantial impact on what the financial outcome of a game is usually. Or I should say, people did have the ability to see his game, but it's very competitive. There's a lot of it out there. And so I took a look at the trailer for his game, or rather the snippet that he made this post with. It featured his character using a grapple hook to platform and to solve puzzles. And there was this one section of it that was just, I think, honestly, 10 seconds worth of his character just climbing a ladder. Very boring to watch. But that made probably about half of the 20 seconds they showed. And so I thought to myself, well, man, it makes sense that people aren't too hyped about your game if you only have a short amount of time. You have longer than 20 seconds to show your game, but if he's choosing clips like that to showcase the strong points of his game, you're gonna have a hard time getting other people interested in your game. Because it's not just other platformers and other games with better marketing that you're competing with. You're competing with bigger teams. You're competing with better artists, better developers. So you need to come correct. You need to put your best foot forward. And 10 seconds of climbing a ladder is not. Most people don't even like ladders in games. I do not think any gamer enjoys climbing ladders. It's slow. It's very methodical. There's usually not a lot you can do with just climbing a ladder. It is usually one of the worst parts of a game, platforming wise. And so the thought occurred to me that there's also a social version of this. That social version being people putting their social equivalent of 10 seconds of climbing a ladder into their first impression with somebody. And most people do not want to deal with that. Now, what really is that equivalent of 10 seconds of climbing the ladder? Well, it could be a lot of things. It could be talking too much about yourself and not trying to learn about the other person for too long. It could be divulging information and perhaps crossing over some emotional boundaries way too soon. Like, think for a second, if you met somebody, you guys introduce each other, and the very next thing that person says is, I was and am an orphan, and I've been insecure about that my entire life, and it just caused me to have chronic crippling depression. I cry myself to sleep every night, and no one's ever reached out to help. If that is what your first interaction with somebody is like, you just gave them 10 seconds of climbing a ladder. Now, why is this significant? Well, when no one wants to climb ladders, they're not likely to engage with you more after that first experience. There is a time and a place for everything. So instead, what if you and this person kept things light, you guys joked around a little, found some commonalities, hung out a couple times, and eventually developed a friendship where you guys are both putting your best foot. Eventually, there comes a time when it is okay to give them that 10 seconds of climbing the ladder, because life is tough. Life doesn't happen the way we want it to. But that's okay. No one's an island. Sometimes you need to open up to people, the right people at the right place in the right time. But the first 10 seconds of an interaction is not the time to show them that your social experience, their experience of you, is going to be climbing a ladder. This is particularly poignant when the other person has had many experiences with other people where that is not the case, where they didn't get that 10 seconds of ladder. So you've already done yourself a disservice of giving them 10 seconds, this is a metaphorical 10 seconds, it could be longer than that, but giving them 10 seconds of a bad experience within the first time of gaining that. Now, what do you do if that does happen? Because we all make mistakes. It takes us a long time to learn things. And if you are somebody that tends to give people that 10-second ladder climbing section in your first interaction, here is what you can do. And what you can do is when you recognize yourself doing this, assure the other person that you're not going to need anything from them. So let's say in that example, I cry myself to sleep every night, but every day I'm working on it, I'm getting professional help, and I think that life is much better when you reach out to people and have a good support network and, I'm all taken care of. I'm doing okay. So what has been going on lately in your life? What thing lately has brought you joy, a highlight of your... So we went from a bad place to discontinuing that 10-second ladder and then telling them that you are not going to make them climb another 10-second ladder. And that on top of that, there's going to be fun parts, like platforming with your grappling hook. Obviously a metaphor for a positive outlook on life and fun things that you have going on in your life and that you enjoy, no matter how big or small. Sunshine and rainbows sell, and life is not all sunshine and rainbows, but within everything, you can usually take something good out of it. Finally, in that hypothetical conversation, not only did you assure them you weren't going to need anything from them and that you're taken care of, that you have good things going on and a good outlook on life, you asked them about themselves. And you asked them about something that people don't get enough chance to talk about, something that brings them joy, a highlight of their week. Now they may or may not have an answer, but the point is you provided value right there. You actually cared enough to inquire a little below surface level what something positive is and that you are a willing ear. So that's what you can do in those situations. The other things you should be aware of when you are catching yourself doing or giving somebody that 10-second ladder experience is over apologize. If you say something that acknowledges the situation and moves past it, oh man, I didn't mean for it to get that deep. Anyway, what's going on with you these days? How's life? What's going on? You don't want to over apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sure you don't want to hear that. I am such a loser for saying that. This is my first impression. And now I just keep talking about it and mucking it up. That's going to make them feel equally, if not more uncomfortable, because now they're aware that you're aware that things are not off to a great start and you're self-conscious about it. It's very slightly better than keeping them on that 10-second ladder, but not by much, because now they feel the burden of having to assure you that you're okay. Why make somebody do that? You can assure them that you are okay and move on from it, and that will show them, that will give them proof that you're fine, and that you may have gotten caught up a little bit, has no problem, we're moving on. So don't over apologize. The other thing that you shouldn't do is tell them what they do and don't want to hear. Oh, I'm sure you don't want to hear this. I bet you, have your own problems and I'm so sorry for putting this on you. Little crossover with over apologizing, but you never really know the other person. You can take a good guess that they probably don't want to hear your whole life story when you first meet somebody. But what's better than telling them what you're sure they don't want to hear? Because there's always the chance that they might relate to it and they can understand what's going on and you guys can bond over it. But rather than telling them what they do and don't want to hear, just move on, don't acknowledge it. So the big takeaway is, especially when you're first meeting somebody, don't make them climb the 10-second ladder. Give them something good. Ask them about themselves. Tell them something great that's going on in your life. Joke together. Be excited about something coming up or a commonality. Give them a compliment. Don't make them climb the 10-second ladder. And if you do, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Acknowledge it. Let them know you don't need anything from them. They shouldn't feel burdened by the information you have just given them. And then provide value by asking them about themselves, by moving on, by not belaboring the point. And get to the fun part. Show them the fun parts of your game. The grapple hooks, the platform,